Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the world famous podcast Beating the Press. If this is your kind of thing, listening to us chatting about football, do that magical thing, like, subscribe down at the bottom. We have got our guest. I want to say guest. I'm getting reluctant to call him a guest because he's here every fucking week now for the Euros. So the sign is, if he's here, it generally means we're doing a podcast on the Euro. So this is a continuation of our European Championships leading up to this year's European Championships. So this episode will have us covering Euro 2008. I mean, if we think back, it's obviously the one where Spain started their international dominance. So just to quickly introduce everyone, I'm Ty. We've got Chris as well, who is my co-host. We have got our guest, the CEO of Reggae Boy Gaming, also known as playing Pez all night. So
That's it. That's it. I'm tapping into your electric already, man. I live outside your house now.
How are you doing, Simpson?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Well, apart from I'm back at work, starting at 6:30 in the morning. Other than that, yeah, I'm good, man. It's good to have some kind of normality back in life again.
You've only just gone back to work.
I've been working, but like not my normal hours. So I'm back to my normal hours of 6 in the morning till 10 at night and all kind of 12 years of slave crap, unfortunately. So it's it is what it is now, you know what I mean? But I got myself some new clothes and I got myself a new haircut as well. So
Looking fresh.
I swear down, I could start a fire with this hair. Look, it's looking nice. So, but other than that, yeah, life's normal. Yeah,
I thought something looked different for you. I didn't know what it was. It's your haircut, isn't it?
I'm literally, I'm getting the last few bits of hair I can get out of this with old age, man. I'm like brushing it forward and stuff, and you know what I mean. I'm have to speak to Rooney about getting hooked up at the front or something. But yeah,
so Chris, I don't think you've been in the haircut. Have you? You haven't had a haircut.
I've got no chance. I've given up. It's started going backwards. I've just completely given up.
I pitied the fool.
Did I miss the memo wearing all black?
Yeah, I did.
Prince Philip and all that, you know.
Oh yeah.
I'm wearing it for DMX, me.
Yeah.
All right.
Stop, drop, shut them down. Open up shop.
We had a game on Saturday, and it was like a minute silence, and the lads were like, "What's a minute silence for?" And I was like, "DMX."
That's right.
But yeah, it was like, you know, whoever you want, you know, I'm sure.
You know, we're good.
I mean, Prince Philip, I'm sure he was important to some people. I think DMX was probably important to us and stuff, so it's fine. It's just the way it is. Anyway, we better start talking about football because that's why people listening are tuning in, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. So
Chris, I'll pass
obviously,
over.
Yeah, obviously we're doing a continuation of our Euros, and today's Euro 2008, which was in Austria and Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, yeah.
But as always, we're going to start with England, and funnily enough, England didn't make this one. So I think it's only right that we do actually feature a little bit about England. And we're just going to start off with the qualifying stages, England's demise, move on to the actual group stages, and then we'll look a bit in depth into the knockout stages, and then finally finish off with the team of the tournament. So with that being said, I'm just going to bring up my screen for the England qualifiers.
Make sure you click the right tab. We're clicking up that wrong tab from last night.
Yeah. Let's make sure we're doing it right.
Yeah. So obviously this is the final team. Can you actually see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at work here. Can you see my screen? Yes, we can.
Yeah. I can't believe we actually finished third. I thought I thought it was just top team went through and then runners up. We were runners up, but we finished third.
Yeah.
That is shocking.
Finish level with Israel. Don't deserve to be anywhere near that tournament, man.
Benayoun!
I like what?
So
my God!
For those of you that are listening, as opposed to watching and listening, we've got Croatia who finished top, Russia finished second, then it was England, obviously third. We tied on points with Israel, and then it was Macedonia, who somehow accumulated 14 points, and then Estonia and Andorra with...
Andorra's 2 goals were against us as well.
A massive 0. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So we... this was obviously the made famous for the Wally with the Brolly. That's basically how the group ended with a defeat to Croatia. But this particular campaign was obviously Steve McLaren's first campaign. I think it was it Sven-Göran Eriksson prior to that?
Yeah, Sven before that.
We got knocked out in the quarterfinals of the World Cup by that.
Ronaldinho goal, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. It was 2000. No, it was the Lampard. No, not Lampard. Mine's gone blank now.
2002 was Ronaldinho, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 2006 World Cup. We got to the quarterfinals and all that. But yeah, obviously, Steve McLaren then took over, and he quite famously left Beckham out of the squad and brought him in halfway through. To be fair, he did have like quite a few injuries throughout the campaign, but it was still no excuse for playing the likes of Paul Robinson and Sean Ray Phillips and the likes. But do you remember anything of this campaign? I remember quite a lot of it. I actually remember more of this campaign than the actual tournament itself.
I just remember the last game, like I said, the Wally and the Bonnet. I just remember that last game at Wembley. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it was the usual thing, and you tune into England, you watch about 10 minutes, and you think, you know what, I'm switching to Corrie. So it was always like that in the qualifications. Yeah, I see Crouchy was there a lot, wasn't he? Crouchy did this thing.
Yeah, I'm like Simpson. I mean, it's weird. Mine's, I mean, I can remember the games I'm looking at, but it literally is a McLaren Wally with a brolly that I remember. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, you look there again, England 0, Macedonia 0. I mean, what the ass is going on there?
Exactly, and
Israel away.
We also drew with Israel 0-0, and
no disrespect, Macedonia must have been part-timers. You know what I mean? A couple of goat herders, a bus driver. No disrespect, but
I think that was Andorra.
Yeah, well, it was. We actually then we drew with Israel 0-0, and then we went back to we played them at home and beat them 3-0, and that was when David Beckham and I think it was Michael Owen got brought back into the team, and we started turning things around, but we actually went to Russia, and all we had to do in Russia, I think, was avoid defeat, and we were 1-0 up, and I think it was Pavlyuchenko scored 2 late goals, and I don't know if you remember, it was on like an artificial pitch.
Yeah, I do remember now. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and they scored basically scored 2 quick goals, and also there was a Gary Neville goal where he passed it back to Robinson and it bounced over his foot.
Oh, damn! Yeah, I remember that. That was in Croatia, wasn't that one?
That one was Croatia. So that wasn't the build-up. But we only had to avoid defeat against Russia, and we got beat 2-1. And then Russia went to I think they got a surprise defeat by someone right near the end.
Israel.
They got beat by Israel, and then all we had to do was avoid defeat by Croatia. And then obviously the infamous one with the brolly. We went, I think it was 2-0 down.
Yeah.
After we got it back
14 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you know, we
can't even make a pizza in 14 minutes. We're 2-0 down. What the hell?
But yeah, we
got at Croatia and Russia, right? And I'm thinking, they're quick, but they got far in the tournament. Do you know what I mean? I think one of them got to semi-finals, didn't they? If I remember right, Russia won it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a bad Russia team. The Russia team's not. I mean, it's weird, you know. Whenever we look back, and you sort of always think talking about the team in the present, but that Russia team and Croatia team, they were good teams. You know what I mean? And England were not gonna, at home, obviously, everyone always makes England favourites to face the group and qualify. But that wasn't a particularly easy group because both those sides were good.
Yeah, for me, Croatia have always been a good team. They're good in tournaments. They're brilliant. Yeah. Russia, like you said, they had Ashavin and Pavlyuchenko, but I'd still expect us to beat. I mean, if we finished second to Croatia, fair enough. I might be like, but Russia, Pavlyuchenko couldn't hit a barn door in Premier League, but in the Euros, he was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, they had Yuri Zhirkov as well. They had quite a few good players, Russia. Do you know what I mean?
Was he at Chelsea at the time, though, in and out of the team? And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Pavlyuchenko hadn't actually made it to England at this point.
Oh, okay.
He was still good then.
Yeah.
But Zhirkov, I'm not sure about Zhirkov.
Rebrov was Ukraine, wasn't he? Sorry. But it's still bad view, 2-0 down, and then Lampard, Penn, and then PC World, a bit of Peter Crouch, and then Petric.
Yeah, but that's enough of England. We don't want to talk about England anymore. They were shit.
No. We're not going to leave it. We're not actually going to leave it there. We've got. Where are they now? So this was actually the team. So we had Scott Carson, Michael Richards, Micah Richards.
He's still playing like Derby or something, Scott Carson, isn't he? Scott Carson's still collecting a wage somewhere.
That fourth choice keeper, isn't he? What does the fourth choice keeper do? Are you like Kitman? Part keeper.
Yeah.
It was actually
like 46.
I think it was his debut, the first that actual game, and he got a 2 out of 10. And then you've got
you get 2 for turning up with boots.
And you got Micah Richards who got a 0.
Wow. We need to remind Micah of that. My goodness.
Yeah, that's his punditry. Oh no, sorry, you got a 4 out of 10. He had 0 caps at the time. Yeah.
Right, so did the whole England 11 put together make at least a 10? If you add them all up, did at least make a 10 between them? Please say so. 2 out of 10.
And then we had Sol Campbell, a nice 4 out of 10. We had Julian Lescott, 4 out of 10. Apparently got embarrassed by Eduardo. Waimbridge, 3 out of 10. And then we had Sean Wright Phillips, who was 4 out of 10. Frank Lampard, 5 out of 10. Stephen Gerrard, 4 out of 10. Gareth Barry, 4 out of 10.
How shit a team is that, by the way? Keep going.
Joe Cole got a 5 out of 10, and Peter Crouch got a massive 6 out of 10.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, we remember those players. That team did not deserve to go to the Euros. Take Gerrard and Lampard out. It's Absolutely. A shit team. Do you know what I mean? How many of those are not? You know, if any of them were playing now, they'd be playing for like West Brom at an absolute. Because they're some shit players. I mean, Gareth Barry, what's it?
Yeah.
I mean, Gareth Barry's like, all right. Well, I can imagine he was playing left side midfield. You got Waimbridge. Where's Ashley Cole? Has he retired by then? I don't even know. You're back to what? What's he doing there? Do you know what I mean? Scott Carson, there's some absolute shit there. I'm glad Russia went.
Peter Crouch came out. Peter Crouch's England record was pretty good, to be fair. Crouch never really let England down, to be honest, but because he was so unorthodox. But yeah, I mean,
it's just like,
that's shocking, though, really, to be fair.
That team does it,
Because you look at that and, like, say, Joe Cole's probably the most creative player we've got in that team, then.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just to finish, the Wally with the Brolly got a 1 and was sacked the next day. That's England out the way. You're not worth our time on this one. So we're going to quickly move on to the actual tournament itself. Usually in the tournaments, you have the home nation. They tend to put up a bit of a fight and they seem to go far. I don't know if you remember, Austria and Switzerland.
They got freebies, didn't they?
They were barely in the tournament.
Did Austria even make it? I don't remember Austria being there.
Yeah, Austria were there.
I remember Swiss, but I don't remember Austria turning up.
Yeah, they were barely there. They were there for 5 minutes, and that was about it. But at least they were there longer than England.
I think they got a point. I think Austria got a point, didn't they? They played Poland. They got a point with Poland. It was Croatia and Germany in that group. So yeah, I think Austria got a point.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so it was like a celebration. We got a point.
Oh yeah. Bank holiday.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, Switzerland got 3. I mean, they finished bottom of the group, but they got 3. They got a win. Do you know what I mean?
Is that probably the worst host in any tournament? You think?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you've got out of 6 games, they managed to get 4 points between them.
Surely, yeah, that's got to be the worst host nation to do. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've got Qatar coming up next year, so that's got you never know what's happening there.
I mean, there's no way. I think they just bribed them and paid them a shitload just so they can actually be at a World Cup. It's not about hosting it.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll pay 10 million just to be in a World Cup, even though we can burn the stadiums down as soon as it finishes.
I know. I think one of my second cousins is working out there for 0 pence. I don't know what the hell's going on. There's something terrible out there, but that's another story, I suppose. One thing I remember about Euro 2008 was that damn Bellissima song, whatever it's bloody called. Damn, did you know? Every goal that went in, that song was played in the bloody stadium every time.
Do you know what? We've missed a trick here. We've just missed a trick. You've just nailed it, Simpson. What we should have done was, the BBC and the ITV songs for that tournament, we should have played it in the background.
Honestly, that was the song. Every time someone scored, damn that, and I was like, oh, here we go again. Every game. Literally, I think that was number 1 in Austria and Switzerland for 2 or 3 years at least. That's the only song that was released over there. It's either that or Dario G or something, you know what I mean?
So I think what we need to do is we need to shout out, everyone's listening to this, if you're watching, what to do is dig out those songs and stick them in the comments so we can remember
I'll play that bad boy now for you.
All that stuff.
It was shocking.
But yeah, so just moving on to the actual group stage. Do you guys remember anything of it or any major sort of points to stick out for you?
I remember there was one ridiculously hard group. I want to say that it was...
I mean, I'll go through the groups. So Group A was Portugal, Turkey, Czech Republic and Switzerland, which is a pretty tough group.
Yep.
Group B was Germany, Croatia, Austria and Poland.
One with Holland won it, I think.
Group C was Holland, Italy, Romania, and France.
That was the one, yeah.
And Group D was Spain, Russia, Sweden, and Greece. So naturally, with me and my Italy hat on, I do remember shit because we qualified.
You can start us off then.
But actually, that group was really, really tough. I mean, we were the world champions at the time because we won World Cup, 2006. And we had Holland, Romania, and France. The first game was against Holland, and we lost 3-0.
You got mullered in that one.
I know. And then Romania and France drew 0-0, which was a great result because it keeps you in it. Do you know what I mean? If France won, you're suddenly chasing massively.
Yeah.
The game was really. I mean, we played Romania first, and I remember we drew 1-0, and then Holland and France were on later. Basically, if France won, we were fucked. Do you know? Because then France would have been on 4 and we'd have been on 1.
I remember Mutu missing a penalty, didn't he? Buffon saved a penalty from Mutu.
Yeah.
Mutu was coked out of his face. I see 3 of them. Hit the one in the middle. Hit the one in the middle. That's all I remember from Mutu. Oh my god.
Yeah, and it just absolutely bonkers. And then Holland played France, and Holland smashed France 4-1. And I remember that after that, I was, everyone was saying, best team in the tournament, Holland are going to piss it, as you always do, Holland, I'd say that time of massive achievers was always Spain and Holland. They sort of seemed to be together, but this is a tournament where sort of Spain turned it around and Holland continued to be massive underachievers. And then the final group stage, obviously with that win, Italy, it was a France-Italy game. Whoever won that pretty much went through. Holland played Romania. Holland won 2-0 as you'd expect. And then Italy finally turned up and they beat France 2-0.
Just at the right time.
Yeah, just at the right time. So they qualified, and then obviously then we were on to the sort of knockout phases. I'm just going to share my screen now and just sort of bring up the knockout stages of the.
One thing I noticed with Italy, I think it was the Italy-Spain game I looked at specifically before we came on, and Cannavaro wasn't in the Italy team on that specific game. Was he missing for the tournament?
I can't remember. I think he might have been injured, but no, I can't remember. He was still sort of part of it. Obviously, he was part of the Euro 2006, and obviously there were some players starting to get phased out as well.
Wasn't he World Player of the Year 2 years before?
He won it. Yeah, Euro 2006. He won the Ballon d'Or. I think he might have been the first defender. Would it? Did Matteo Sanno win it?
Yeah.
Matteo Sanno might have won it as well. But I mean, the Ballon d'Ors, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, Cannavaro, for any Italy fan, for anyone who knows football, as great as Cannavaro was, the greatest Italian defender of the sort of last 30 years was Maldini, but he never got a sniff. Do you know what I mean? And Cannavaro,
I thought it was Materazzi.
I know, yeah. But yeah, so just looking at that, we're on to the knockout stages now. So he's straight to the quarters, not like the Euros as they are now, and they were in 2016.
Do you reckon they'd have won it, Italy, if they got past Spain on penalties?
Oh yeah. I mean,
they'd have beaten Germany.
I mean, you look at Spain. Spain played it, and that was Spain's toughest game. Italy. They're a renowned tournament team. They know how to play. I mean, Spain are the best team in the tournament. Let's not beat about the bush. You know what I mean? They're
the best squad.
Yeah, I mean, they played the best football as well, and they reinvented the game. And it was the start of what was it? 6 years of international dominance and just phenomenal football. You watch them, but you just had to love it.
Do you not think it was the end of physical footballers then, down to the sheer factor? Doesn't matter how big you are, how small.
That's a really good point.
I think it's changed to tick attack. I think the whole game changed. I think on that tournament.
I think teams saw that and thought that's the way to go. But there will always be a place for physical football, strong football. Do you know what I mean? We look at the Premiership and you look at all teams across. There's a way to play, and there's teams that will play, but I absolutely agree with you. There was a massive shift in that from that tournament. And Spain influenced it moving forward.
It was that period. Like he's absolutely bang on. It was like everybody decided that was going to be the new model that everybody adopted, and like now it's starting to change ever so slightly again. You see with the emerging. I'd say the Premier League teams are coming back around towards their level of dominance again, and barring Man City did not really like what we call a tick-attack type team, obviously with Guardiola, but like that definitely started something, and like it was just brilliant to watch. Like you said, the only one that they struggled in was against Italy, but this wasn't actually the Spanish, like it wasn't the best Spanish team, but they still managed to find it pretty much easy, didn't they, throughout the...
I remember Torres getting a lot of grief in that tournament because Torres wasn't firing until pretty much the final. He scored only 2 goals, maybe 3 goals the whole tournament, one in the final.
One in the final,
And he was getting a lot of flack for it, to be fair. And then obviously, as they kicked on to South Africa, they became even better. But
he was a Liverpool player at the time as well, wasn't he? So Torres had been at Liverpool, Vieira had been at Valencia back then.
I mean, you look at that Spain team as well. Marcus Senna, I don't think people. I mean, I can't imagine that many of the younger viewers and listeners will remember him, but he was that player who allowed Xavi and Iniesta to play. He was a phenomenal holding midfield player. He used to play for Villarreal. Yeah. And Villarreal won Real Madrid Barcelona, obviously, but they won one of the flashy clubs.
They did a couple of Europa League runs, didn't they?
Yeah, but Marcus Senna played that role unbelievably well. He changed I think he was the first player to change that holding midfield number 4 position into a more creative position where the game changed, where you influence, dominate. So Senna was there, and then from there you got Busquets, who obviously changed the game further again, and then you got Pirlo coming in. Do you know what I mean? So the game changed with Senna, and I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I mean, obviously Xavi and Iniesta are going to go on. You know, they're true greats of the game. Moving on. And then you can see there as well, Sergio Ramos started off as a right back for, now he's obviously centre half. So you see there, you have Carlos Puyol as well.
And then Jordi Alba probably snuck in at left back, didn't he? And then
you've got Capdevila at left back. So the team was this was the start of the great Spain team. But then I think a couple of years later, that's when you got when Jordi Alba came at left back, you got Gerard Piqué coming in, you got Busquets coming in, you got Pedro coming in. Do you know what I mean? And that's when it's become the great Spain team. And he had, obviously a massive influence from Barcelona.
Just look at that bench. Look at the players that are coming on: Santi Cazorla, Cesc Fabregas, Danny Guiza.
It was a geezer that called De La Red as well that scored a goal in the groups. Never heard of him since or before.
If I remember right, Danny Guiza was like a really tall centre forward who wasn't. I might be completely wrong, but if I remember right, he just didn't fit the way Spain was supposed to play. Do you know what I mean? A very sort of cumbersome, static forward, whereas you got Torres and Villa really mobile forwards.
Yeah, Ty, before we move on to the other teams, I'm just looking at that Italy team, and I'm seeing Alberto Aquilani in there. Now, thinking of his time at Liverpool, obviously he was a decent player. He was decent, but he was always injured. Was that the level of that Italy team, or was it just a case of maybe a couple of injuries?
You've got to think the 2006 team with world champions, so there's naturally going to be change, So if you look at that team, Panucci playing centre half, he was an all right back. He was never. I mean, he just did a job at centre half. So you think about the centre halves they've had before, like Cannavaro, Nesta, Juliano Maldini.
Panucci was a right back, wasn't he? Really?
Yeah, he was a right back coming in and fitting in. Ambrosini, De Rossi, Aquilani, Perotta. I'll say Ambrosini, De Rossi, and Aquilani. All three of them were fairly sort of conservative midfielders. They're not going to break the lines. Aquilani good with the ball. Perotta's the one that's going to break the lines, but again, nothing creative. And then you've got 2 number 10s, I'd say, up front, Totti and Cassano. Neither of them were a 9, and neither of them had Luca, and it's, sorry, Luca Toni, they're not Totti, Luca Toni and Cassano. Toni was obviously a 9 and Cassano couldn't play there. They had no Totti in that tournament. So you've obviously got Del Piero coming off the bench. Funnily enough, they don't have a defender amongst them within that on the 3. You can only name 3 substitutes then as well. So it's just amazing. You're looking back and seeing which 3 subs the country's named. Do you
not think as well, being a different manager, because it wasn't Donadoni that won the World Cup, was it, before?
No, yeah.
I think he's probably gone in there and gone, you know what, if I just take the same team, people are going to see I've just won it with somebody else's team.
I mean, I remember, when he took over, that I was never convinced with him as a manager. I mean, we had Marcello Lippi as...
That was it, Lippi, yeah.
You look at Marcello Lippi, for me, one of the top managers of the last 40 years. He's won everything, literally everything. Champions League, leagues, World Cup, the lot. So from Lippi, you're dropping off, and then you got Donadoni coming in, who's, he hadn't done anything as a manager before that, and then you've got a loss of players as well, and then you're up against Spain, who were brilliant. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, I know we lost on penalties, but the right team won, and the right team. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, you're never glad for your team to win, but I think there was a team and the emergence of football going through different directions, and we've obviously spoke about the different styles of football and the way we play. But I thought it was really important Spain qualified from that, and I think that was a huge moment for Spain psychologically as well, to beat the world champions, to then give themselves that push and say we're going to win it. And I think that was a massive moment for Spain's history as well.
Just on a different subject, going on about obviously what's going on in today's football and society and stuff like that. Was that the tournament Luis Aragonés was telling so-and-so to do something and he called the player a black this, a black that, didn't he? Was that the tournament Luis Aragonés was telling his player to do something to some player, maybe a French player or something like that? It was around that time he was in charge and he made some ridiculously racist comment. And that's 2008 and we're still dealing with that crap now.
Yeah. No. I mean, remember me and you? We did our like dissertations and stuff like that at university on it. Do you remember the chat that we had to do a presentation? We're just going off. We had to do a presentation on, and we were like, "Oh, what can we do it on?" It's like, "Yeah, we got it." Me and Simpson were the only, literally, any people of colour in the
so we do nobody will question it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I can't say nothing.
Let's say you do this dissertation. There's no way your teacher is going to give you an F.
I'd be like, what? That's it.
But you look back and you think it's absolutely bonkers. But that's one for another podcast. We're going to do that anyway. Do you know?
I'll be interested to hear that 100%.
Yeah. So just looking back and you think, and I think on the footballing way, it was a huge moment for Spain to sort of qualify and move forward. I'm just going to sort of stop sharing my screen now as well.
Yes. So was there any, like obviously the dark horses and the teams that probably excelled a little bit more than what you think they would were Turkey and Russia. Do you guys have any memories of Turkey? I think there was a 3-2 game with Germany.
Yeah. Oh, there was an awesome game. Yeah. There was one. It was in the group stage, wasn't it? They had a great game against. Was it Germany? Was it Croatia or somebody? Somebody 3-2, like you said. It was back and forth like crazy. I remember Rooster with the goalkeeper as well, erratic as hell, going out everywhere. But
they lost to Germany in the semi-finals, didn't they? 3-2. And the thing is, it was Philip Lahm who scored a last-minute winner as well.
Germany. The Turkish player went down with a knee injury, and they carried on playing.
Yeah,
which you would do anyway. Anyone would do.
Yeah.
But I remember Lahm like skinning a couple of players and banging it in top bins. And again, he was a hell of a player, Lahm. Absolutely hell of a player.
I mean, he's another one that's going to go down as a true great. You know? Yeah, and then the other semi-final, it was Spain against Russia, and Spain just pretty much pissed it and went through, didn't they?
I've got the semi-finals. If we want to share my screen.
It was funny as well though, because obviously Germany. I don't think that Germany team was great either. Do you know?
They were still riding on Balak, weren't they, really? Klose was there. Klose was good. Podolski got a few.
And then we just sort of looked, and I remember, because obviously it was on the back of losing to Italy in the semi-finals in the World Cup.
Richards.
And I still think that Germany team what's the word I'm looking for? Overachieved, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, overachieved. Yeah. And I think they did a lot of that because they were the home nation. Italy won on penalty in extra time in the World Cup 2006, but they were the better team by quite a distance. And this Germany team, you look at it, it's pretty poor, isn't it?
It is. Mertesacker, who like a turning circle of the planet. Yeah. He honestly take a week to turn around.
There's four players there that I'd say, world class at some point. Lahm, Schweinsteiger, Balak, and Klose.
You got Rolf Harris instead of him. I mean, he's Rolf's. I know. Who's that dude? I've never heard of him before.
Hitzelsberger with his absolute hammer of a left foot, you know what I mean?
That was it. That's all he had. Schweinsteiger was a good player.
It's funny you mentioned Klose, Balak, Schweinsteiger, and Lahm. It was Podolski who took the tournament by storm, wasn't it? Like he scored a lot of goals early on.
But you can always have a good tournament, can't you? And that was one of the things. But as I'm on about just general careers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Klose, obviously top scorer in the World Cup or something. You know what I mean? So he's run it over a sustained period of time.
Yeah. The obviously the other semi-final was Russia versus Spain. That team massively overachieved the Russians. Obviously, they have Pavlyuchenko, Zhirkov, Anyukov, and then Ziyech. Is there any other that stand out to you on that team?
Billy Attadino, but I remember him, I think he had he left-footed, wasn't he, and just a little dribbly type player, do you know what I mean? Like really creative and good on the ball. But if that
game didn't start.
Yeah, I think he might have been injured that game or suspended for some reason, but that was, I'd say, Spain's most complete performance that game. Mm-hmm. They blew Russia out of the waters. They were phenomenal. Just played football how it should be played, and they played it at the highest of sort of pressurized environments and moments, which is like a semi-final of a major tournament.
What gets me is we look at that. I know the last Euros we're talking about England playing 4-4-2, but so rigid and nothing. Spain are doing the same thing. But you know, apart from
that would
Senna,
be very fluid, yeah.
Them other three moved about. They were unmarkable, whereas ours were just like, you're left, you're middle, you're right, and that was it. Senna was probably the only one that stayed in his position.
We've got it as 4-4-2 there. It's not going to be a 4-4-2. It would have been a 4-3-3. It would have been Senna, Xavi, and Iniesta, and then Torres up front. And Villa used to play off the left wing and Silva off the right. Silva's left footed and stuff. So it was 4-3-3 effectively. But even if it was 4-4-2, the flexibility within Spain's makeup and the team where they played was just so much better than any other team playing.
They weren't exactly attacking fullbacks, were they? So they're probably going, back four and Senna, you just stay, defend, let the other four do the thing. You know what I mean? Or the other five, sorry, and do the thing. And work for them. It looks
like the expected quite a comfy win. It was exactly how they thought it would. It ended up 3-0 to Spain. Like you can see, obviously they've got the two forwards there. If we move on to the final, obviously it looks like David Villa's dropped to the bench. I don't know whether that was through injury or what, because wasn't he the number one striker for Spain at that time?
Yeah.
And Torres to start up front by himself. It shows the level of respect comparatively to.
But then again, you look at it tactically and you think Mertesacker, Metzelder, -5 pace. Put your fastest lad up front. And then the mad thing is for Torres for the goal, he actually skinned Lahm.
Yeah.
He went round the side of him and beat Lahm to the ball. But you look at Mertesacker, I'm thinking, you know what, my 10-year-old could outpace Mertesacker. So bang him in front.
I actually remember that goal because this was one of the few games that I actually remember. Like, you as the tournament goes on, you kind of watch for the major teams, and then you get to the knockout stages, then you start to actually watch it properly. I remember the final and that goal that you're talking about, and he does actually skin him, but still, to me, I remember at the time thinking, why didn't Lahm go down? Because he gets like a slight pull on his arm, and he just stays up. Torres just does his little dink. And obviously,
there's a few goals in that tournament with VAR would have cancelled now. Like even the Germany-Turkey one, there's one where Ballack clearly pushes the guy out of the way to head the ball in to get the win. And you're thinking, like I watched it, back and you're thinking, God, half of these goals wouldn't count now. The whole tournament would be 0-0 all the way through it. It is strange how it works out nowadays. Like,
do you know that final as well? I look back and Germany really couldn't keep up with Spain, and that goal was. I can't remember a country. You feel the emotion. I don't think I've ever felt as much emotion coming through the screen and the sidelines and the management when Torres scored that goal. It was like a release. It was almost like now we can win it because that it was still hanging over the head because I don't think they'd won a major tournament.
They've not won anything, have they?
They've not won up before then. As nice a football as you played, you will ultimately need to win something. And then when they actually won it at the end, it was just like emotion everywhere. You know what I mean? And but with Germany, I think that they try to play tough and hard, but Spain, that was a victory for. And I remember at the time, I can't remember what the exact quote was, but it was a victory for stylish, technical attacking football.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And Spain finally showed, because it was always that thing, to be a tournament team, you've got to be really good defensively. Do you know what I mean? That's the most important thing. Attack is sort of it's important, but not as important. But if Spain sort of threw that out of the water, and the way they played the game and they controlled the game, and there's obviously we've mentioned it before, but that Spain team and the way they started, and we've obviously got to mention Barcelona with that as well. Biggest influence in terms of change and styles of football.
But like you said, they've got 2 clean sheets. They've got a clean sheet in the semi-final and the final.
Yeah.
But they were an attacking team, but they've got 2. You know what I mean? 2 clean sheets, and technically what would be the 2 hardest games of the tournament. But it shows how good they were, really, to be fair. And like I said about Marcus Senna, what he can do in defensive midfield and cutting everything out on the sides. Defensively, they were mint as well. Casillas is no joke as well, to be fair. So,
how far do you think winning that first tournament actually goes, like, for you, like psychologically, in order to win like future tournaments? Like, you think about Jurgen Klopp. That we were always saying about Jurgen would constantly get beaten finals, and then all of a sudden he wins one, and then he goes on to win multiple. And now you think of the likes of Tottenham, for example. A lot of people call Tottenham Spursy and bottlers. Do you I don't like to use that word. I don't like to use Spursy.
It's there. We've got to use
it. Yeah. Do you think that is a key factor of winning something? It doesn't matter who's the manager. It's just about getting over that over the line for that first time, just for a club. It doesn't matter who's managing, just get that first win out the way, and then you can go forward psychologically as a club.
Yes and no. You look at Greece. I think they scored 1 goal or something that next tournament, which is fair enough. They did. Obviously, it was a surprise they won the last one, but they got absolutely annihilated when they came back again. Yeah. So, again, they're not a major player, but yeah, for Spain and the players they've got, I think it definitely kicked them on for confidence for the next one. I mean, again, you're talking about as well the World Cup, obviously moving on different from the Euros. The World Cup, they were the first European team to win the World Cup outside of Europe as well, which is massive as well. You never happen. Similar thing with you never get a South American team winning in Europe usually, generally as well, which is kind of strange because all the South American players play in Europe. But for Spain to then go on and win the World Cup in South Africa as well, it was huge, to be fair. So it definitely paid some kind of advantage for them, without a shadow of a doubt.
I think it's a really interesting point, and I think you hear it a lot, and it's like there's no research behind it. No one knows. It's just an opinion. But we look at Spain, and we've obviously seen him sort of previous sort of 20 years, and you'd seen him play from 2008, backwards, going back into sort of early 90s. They always played brilliant football, and they'd always be there or thereabouts. You call them a quarter-final team. They almost used to get that tag dark horse. You think now, imagine calling Spain a dark horse. They'd be like the favourites for everything. Do you know what I mean? The world's so shifted. Yeah. That was a huge moment for them. And I'll still go back to it. The game against Italy to knock out the world champions and then go. And Russia, you'd expect to beat them. And then the final to really turn up on show and win again. Because I don't think they were good in the final. I don't think they were great. They did enough to win. And that was a big moment for them to learn how to win a tournament. That you start a football, don't lose your philosophy and your beliefs and the way you want to play the game. But the most important thing is you've got to win, and they did that. And then that was a huge kick up the backside for them.
With that in mind, I was just thinking about England's hopes, obviously, this summer coming. What do you think it's going to take for England to start truly believing in tournament? I'm not talking about the hype before the actual tournament. I'm talking in the tournament. If you think back to Euro 96 when we actually, I think it was we beat Spain on penalties and Stuart Pearce, that famous celebration. What do you think it's going to take for us to actually truly believe or have the credibility to believe that we're actually going to do something in this tournament? Would it be a big win against one of the favourites, do you think?
Hire Steve McLaren. No, I don't honestly. It might do. It might be a massive win. It might be just a sheer factor. You just get out the group to start off with, and then we to go from there. Get out the group, and then it is just one-off knockout football. But I think I'm looking midweek in the Champions League, and I think again the experience of the players. Like back then, I don't think the team. There's only maybe United or Chelsea that would get that far in Champions League. Where you look at the night, Phil Foden probably the best player on the pitch of the night. Mason Mount played brilliantly as well, over 2 legs. And
Bellingham.
Bellingham as well. You know what I mean? And you're thinking like a lot of these players, I think it's doing well. Like some of them are going abroad, but you look at most of the teams now. You've got an Englishman that's kind of being the forefront of being the best player, where we never had that before in the Premier League teams.
Yeah, I don't know about you. If we think back to the last World Cup, there was the element of belief, once we beat Colombia. But in reality, in the back of our minds, all of us were thinking England haven't really beaten anyone. So there was no justification to that belief. It was just kind of like a fandom type.
I don't care if we played Israel every week until we got to the final. It won't bother me if it was an easy run. I would not care. I would not care how it came.
My thing for England is, I actually think they've got the players to win it. I don't think they've got the manager to win it. And I just think it'll come down to that, because I think he will revert to type in that he'll go too conservative. To win tournaments, you've got to be brave. And I don't think, because I think we all know whenever they play someone tough, he's going to go with 2 holding midfielders. Do you know what I mean? And he'll lose that. I think you've almost got to be brave and play one, stick to one holding midfielder and play Mason Mount and then play another. Do you know
whenever
what I mean?
England get knocked out, but if they've played the hearts out, like France 98, fair enough, we all blame Beckham, but the players played the hearts out. We're still proud of them. Euro 96, they played their hearts out, heartbreaking, we lost to Germany, but everyone was proud of them because they play. If you put on that shirt, and like you said before, Ty, about Italy, they sing that anthem like literally it is life or death if they don't sing it. If we had England players doing that, which are fair enough, I think in our country the anthem doesn't mean as much to some people as it does others. Maybe we need to change it. I don't even know. But if we saw an England team go out and give blood, sweat and tears no matter what, whatever happened, we were proud of them. And I think that's the difference sometimes. You look at it and think, God, if I had that shirt on, I'd be running through my bloody skin to do stuff for England. Do you know what I mean? They're getting paid for it. I know they give it to charity now, whatever. But it's your national team. I just want to see that pride for me. And if you get that pride, I'll support you no matter how well you do. And that's what you see with other countries. You see with the Croatia, like I said, with Spain, they show pride in the shirts. The countries are proud of them no matter what they do.
Yeah,
I think that, like what you're saying is absolutely right. It's really important for that pride, but and that passion to show through. But you don't win tournaments on pride and passion. See, that's a very sort of like early 90s, like that's when we started watching football, and it was very, you got to show fight, Teddy Butcher, but they never won fuck all. Do you know what I mean?
It's not fight, it's effort. It's effort for me. Just show effort.
Yeah, no, I get that effort, but I'm just saying England have got a group of players now that are good enough to win it. And the reason why that is they are playing for top teams, elite level. They're playing in knockout stages of Champions League football. They're starting as well. They're not one of those, they're coming on for 10 minutes and they're actually important, integral parts of those teams.
Yeah, no Walcott.
No, yeah. And now you've also got, to add on top of that as well, you've got English teams now dominating Europe as well, both in the Champions League and Europa League. So now that you've got a huge, you've got players that aren't going to make it into the squad that would normally absolutely piss it into any previous England squad and in any squad in the world. So I think they've got, but I still come back to it. The manager is going to be the one that holds them back. And you mentioned it last World Cup. They beat everyone they should have beat. And as soon as they came up against someone half decent, Croatia, they got beat. I mean, they didn't even go up against any Croatia.
Do you think an English manager could do it? Do you think that's where we let it down then, Ty? Like the players have made that jump, but unfortunately, in the Premier League, we've not allowed the English managers to make that jump. And manage the teams in the Champions League. I mean, look at it now. I mean, Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, Chelsea, Tuchel, Man City, Guardiola. Do we need to give England managers a chance to try and take an English team that far? So then we have an England manager that can do that. Because like I said, Gareth Southgate, apart from what I think Europa League with Middlesbrough, he doesn't have that experience, and we're not giving the English managers the chance to get that experience. I think that's, like I said, the missing link is the manager. The players are doing it.
Let's just put this right. I mean, the reason why he got given the job was because everyone else was falling. Was like, can we get him in? He was part of the under-21. He was an under-21 manager, so Will can bring him in. The good thing about him,
Allardyce messed up as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously. So the good thing about Southgate getting the gig was he has given a lot of under-21 players, and they can see a pathway through to the first team. The DNA and the whole way England want to play, it's similar now through all the teams as well. The only issue is when you get to those, so you can have everything, you can have your DNA, you can have your philosophy, your strategy, the systems you want to play, everything. But in those crucial moments in a tournament, what do? Do you go with your two holding midfielders, or do you go expansive and play and let the kids play? And I'm going to call them kids because they are kids, but they're unbelievably talented. It's like, are you brave enough to say, right, go play and press high? We're going to play high. I don't care if I've got Maguire and Stones in the back. We're going to play, like Liverpool, obviously, but you've got to squeeze up. I don't care if Maguire scores. I'm going to squeeze because I trust us to win the ball back in that final third. That's when it really matters, and that's when I think Southgate, you've sometimes got to think, what are you going to do? And I really don't want. And the other thing, we talk about passion and all that. England in the last World Cup, and sometimes you watch them play. They play out from the back, which I think is brilliant. It's the right way to do it. They lose the ball, and someone will say, "Oh, they should have just gone wrong, and they would have lost." That. It's such short-sighted thinking.
Steve McManaman just saying, "Why are they playing about with it at the back?" And that infuriates me. Yeah. But just like it was fascinating just hearing you two go back and forward there. I think you're spot on. But both of you, obviously, I think it's unquestionable that you should always have that three lions spirit and all that when you come out for your country, no matter what. Like Greece won a tournament based upon that strategy. They were just brave, and there was nothing technically brilliant about them, but they managed to somehow, luckily, get their way through to the final. But I also agree that bravery is probably a key word, and that's perfect with this specific tournament because that's exactly what Spain were. You've got a team that are not afraid to take the ball under pressure, and like Ty was saying there, we've got those players that are capable of doing that. And I would rather see a team like this get knocked out trying to play a certain way than actually going a man down and losing like heroes.
You look at Germany though. Germany's team. Go on, Ty.
Just one point. Sorry, very quick. you talk about bravery, and I think you've absolutely nailed it there. We talk, people talk passion, bravery. They think that's flying into a 50-50 tackle or a 40-60, not in your favour and winning it. That's so fucking 30 years ago. Bravery now is when you're playing out from the back, your centre half gets the ball. As a midfielder, can you take the ball when you've got someone up your ass? Do you know what I mean? Are you brave enough to then take it and then play it and then come again? Don't hide. Because ultimately, as a defender, as a keeper, when you get the ball, if players start hiding, that's when you're going to have to go long. Exactly. So bravery is different to what it was years ago. I want my player to be brave, to be taking that role under pressure. If you lose it, fuck it. That's the way we want to play. Yeah. We're going to live and die by the way we play. Do you know what I mean? Spain did it, and we're not England are not Spain. England have got their own DNA, their own way style of playing. That's fine, and that's what we're going to stick to. But be courageous, be brave. Do you know what I mean? In the way you play. And I don't want to say brave, because sometimes I think bravery is not about taking the ball. Bravery is about being in a war. Do you know what I mean? And putting your life. So you play football.
It's football bravery.
Yeah, it's football bravery. Yeah,
not real world bravery.
It's football bravery. But and the bit about being passionate for your team. If you're not passionate, putting on whichever team you play for, you should just go home. We talk about Messi. You won't say Messi's particularly brave, but he's the best. Do you know what I mean? It's like what do you mean by brave? And I just think it's a different type of bravery. Bravery is taking ball under pressure, wanting the ball when you're 2-0 down under the cosh, getting pressure, getting high press. Still wanting the ball, that's bravery for me.
Absolutely. So moving on.
The tournament, we'll carry on for ages there.
Yeah, so with England out of the way, we just want to move on to obviously team of the tournament. I'm sure one of you guys have got the team of the tournament.
We have, yeah. So I'll just start. So we had obviously highly influenced by Spain. So I'll just go through this. We had Casillas in goal, back four of Philipp Lahm, Puyol, Marchena, Zhirkov from Russia. The midfield four were Altin Top from Turkey, Marcos Senna and Xavi from Spain, Modric from Croatia, who's still tearing it up in 2021. Yeah. And then up front, you've got Arshavin and David Villa. Thoughts?
It's good. It's not as good as the one that we.
No one's going to beat it. Yeah. I mean, you got to say the goalkeeper's an upgrade from if you compare it to 2004, then I'd say Casillas is better than Toldo.
Yeah.
Lahm again, Puyol, Marchena, Zhirkov, no questionable. Modric, yeah. I mean, like I said, for me, Iniesta. How on earth Iniesta's not in there? I don't know. I agree. Because Iniesta was class in that tournament as well. Arshavin surprised me, considering he didn't play the semi-final, but like I say, he must have been injured.
Yeah.
David Villa, Senna, like you said, Senna deserved to be in there. Just again, there was no one else doing that in that tournament that he was doing. Altin Top, again, I remember him doing bits, but I think again that's just the sheer fact that Russia and Turkey got to semis. They got in there really.
You've got to get a play. You've got to get a quarter.
Yeah, that's it. You know what I mean. So no disrespect, because they were good players. They weren't poor players, and they all played top level in their divisions and Champions League, whatever. But these. Out of all the Euros, it's probably I'd go and say it's better than last 2004.
It smashes 2004.
Yeah, that's recent. It was like highly.
Yeah, but it doesn't beat 2000. 2000. Sorry, it doesn't beat that one. No.
Yeah, my thing with this one is, and me and Chris are huge fans of Iniesta. For me, the best Spanish player of the last 30 years of me watching it. He just makes you fall in love with the game. Yeah, I'm surprised he's not in there, but I can see obviously Xavi's in there. I suppose it's one of those where you've got to get Altin Top in and Arshavin, which I remember Arshavin had a good tournament, so probably deserved to go in there. And Luka Modric, obviously, I mean, like I said, what is it, 15 years? Just top.
Would you swap Podolski for Arshavin?
No, I mean Podolski. I mean, I thought he was all right, but I've never. He ended
up
Tournament alone.
Yeah, probably. It's a tough one because they both had good tournaments, so it was one of those, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, and then let's not forget about Philipp Lahm as well. One of the best fullbacks of his generation. Could end up playing in the holding midfield position for Bayern Munich as well. Did you remember what Guardiola said about him? He was like the most intelligent footballer he's ever worked with, and that was after he'd been to Barcelona. So, thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, no, you've absolutely nailed it. I can't actually see the team up there, but I totally agree with what Simpson was saying there. Like, I think it was only Alton Top where it was Alton Top. Yeah, where and I'd maybe have had Podolski in the team because he was on fire in the tournament.
For you then, Chris, Xavi or Iniesta, would you have had in that tournament?
I strive every day to be like Iniesta.
I know.
But I would say Xavi. Yeah, the couple of crucial goals, and I just love the way he plays, and I watched the highlights, and he seemed to be involved in more of the goals. Yeah.
So as always, we have a question for you, lovely viewers and listeners. We've obviously talked about Spain, and this was the start of Spain's dominance in international football. The question for you guys is: has there been a country that has influenced change in the way football is played more than the Spain team of 2008? We get 2008 moving forward, 2010. Those teams are probably better, but that was the start of a team changing, like influenced the game and changing the way it was played, and sort of, it was not cool, but every country seemed to strive to play like that. Academies changed, people's styles and DNAs changed. You know what I mean? What do you think?
I would be interested to hear from the older viewers, in particular, the people who have a little bit more experience of, like the West Germanys and the Portuguese, and also I would open that question to club teams as well. Like what teams just in general have molded their generation. You think of Milan as well, for a period, Everton, Liverpool.
It's a brilliant question, that, because we can go back to, I read the Cruyff book a while back now. So you got Cruyff, the Ajax team from the 70s, you got the Milan team in the 90s, you got the Spain and the Barcelona team of the 2000s, this era we're talking about here. And now we're moving on, and we're sort of thinking, it's become the sort of high press, hasn't it? And it's changing again. Sort of, like Liverpool and Man City are sort of like rewriting the way the game's being played. The way them two keep fighting on. Well, I think it's a brilliant question. We should probably a podcast on its own as well. A really deep one about how it all sort of stands.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we want to thank you guys for watching. Obviously, we want to thank our CEO of Reggae Boy Gaming. Obviously, you can catch him on YouTube if you just type in Reggae Boy Gaming. So how was it, Simpson?
Been good, as always, catching up, brothers. It's always nice. It's always been good. Finally out of lockdown. Maybe 2 more to go with Boris. He might put us back in it again, but if he does, I'm revolting. I don't care. I'm slapping some people down at number 10 Downing Street if he puts us back in. So hopefully everyone's back out, and obviously keep watching all the podcasts, because let's be fair, they're all brilliant. I must admit, there's some good stuff on here. So yeah, pleased to be here, guys.
Perfect way to end.
Great to have you, Simpson, as well.
Yeah, so again, thanks guys for watching. Remember to leave your comments in the comments section, like, subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications for when we go live, for all that good stuff. One last push, guys. We're stuck on 85. I think the YouTube clock is just stuck on 85. We might actually be well above that.
Yeah, I'm looking right at you right now, person watching it. Subscribe right now.
If you've made it to right now, you've got to press this.
Exactly. If you hit subscribe, listen, I might even have a giveaway when we get to 100. I might dig into my own pocket and give some sort of giveaway.
I want you to grow an afro. Promise the viewers that you grow an afro. That's it. 100 views.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.
See you later, guys. See you. Bye.